Can somebody join and never mind. I think I can. Hold on. I'll figure it out. Testing, testing. Ugh. As usual, I messed it up doing that. Testing, testing. Ugh. As usual, I messed it up doing that. Testing, testing. Ugh. As usual. Okay. Okay. You guys in the Zoom room? Is anybody in the Zoom room? Y'all ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. So I know there's people in case those kids come in here with that silly stuff. Okay, inshallah, we're ready. There's crazy stuff going on. It's true. All right. Ina alhamdulillah, wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. Oh, I want to welcome everybody to our series on the signs of the last hour. And first of all, I want to apologize for yesterday. Yesterday, I missed all my classes yesterday because I got busy doing my personal stuff here. So I apologize for not letting anyone know. And then I fell asleep, and I meant to send an email. It was my intentions to do my classes yesterday. I didn't know I was going to fall asleep and sleep the whole day. So I apologize for that. And because I missed yesterday was my class on the signs of the last hour at 9. A couple of the young brothers, well, you blew up my cell phone this morning. That's what woke me up. Alhamdulillah, the brothers calling. And by the way, don't call like that. But the brothers called and woke me up. And one of the young brothers asked me if I would do my signs of the last class tonight, because he's in the United Kingdom or something, a different part of the world. And he's trained his body to be up for my class. And so he wanted me to do it tonight. He asked if I would do it tonight instead of doing my enjoining good. So because he's in a different part of the world, because he has changed his schedule, just so he can join and participate and learn from me, I'm doing that class tonight, and instead of the enjoining the good and forbidding the evil. And before I get into tonight's topic, let's talk about it. We've been discussing the signs that our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that would occur, that will lead up to the war against Islam. And if we would take the time, instead of putting all this emphasis on Arabic, because that's where the emphasis is today, which is, we're going to get to that too. We're going to talk about that next week, because that's another one of the signs of the last hour. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the people will be consumed with learning how to sing Arabic, that they will have abandoned his sunnah. You won't know the hadiths. And that's the problem today. Most Muslims today have no knowledge of the hadiths at all, but they can sing the Quran. Okay, they don't know anything about the companions. They don't know anything about the history of Islam, because they don't know the hadiths. But if we were to learn those hadiths, it would help you to handle what's happening in the world today, because everything that's happening in the world today, including that war in Gaza, which is not just a war in Gaza. I talked about that last week. This is the war against Islam. And it didn't begin October 7th. That war began a long time ago with Saddam Hussein, when he attacked Kuwait, okay, with Bosnia, okay, with what's been going on in Africa since the early 2000s. Okay, this is all part of genocide. You know, the non-Muslims, we're going to talk about the hadith today, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that non-believers will hate us so much. They will hate Islam so much that it will be their desire to wipe it out. So this genocide is not against Gaza. Hashtag don't get it twisted. Like I talked about last week, this is against the religion of Islam, all Muslims on earth. That's why it ain't just happening in Gaza. It's happening in a lot of places, but the enemies of Islam, they want to keep the focus on Gaza, so you don't see what they're doing in Africa, because Africa is the continent that holds all the other resources. And we're going to go into that hadith tonight. The Prophet tells us it's about the resources. They want that oil that the Middle East has, and they want the gas, the oil, the jewels, the minerals that Africa has. Okay, those are the two most populated parts of the Muslim world. But they want you to just think it's just happening in Gaza, when it ain't. It's been happening since the early 2000s, and it's still going on in Africa. All right. So if you guys would learn the hadiths, if Muslims today would learn the hadiths, they would see that everything that's happening, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us it would happen, and he also explained why. And the finger is not put on the Zionists. The finger is not put on the non-Muslims. The finger is on us. We brought this on ourselves. Ain't nobody picking on you. And that's this attitude that the Muslims have today. They're picking on me. They're picking on the Gazans. They're picking on the Muslims. Ain't nobody picking on you. This has been going on. It's just that you Muslims today are too stupid and deluded. I'm going to use the word stupid because that's what it is. Until we learn And we're going to go over this hadith today too. Until we learn the hadiths, we're going to be stupid. We're going to be ignorant and stupid of our religion. Keep focusing on singing the Quran and neglect the hadiths like we're doing. We're stupid. And that's why we can't handle what's happening. That's why we're questioning the qadr of Allah. That's why we have misplaced the power of Allah. We've taken the Allah's power and misplaced it by putting it in the hands of man, calling them Zionists. When the Zionists have no power over anything, they can't do nothing unless Allah wills it. So we're going to go over these hadiths today, which are more hadiths that where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that would lead to what's happening today, all that will lead into those 80 nations declaring war against us. But before I get into detail about them, because I'm covering so much information with you guys, and all of the hadiths, every single one that I'm using in this class, I chose them on purpose so that no one can refute me. Okay, all the hadiths that I'm using in this class, every single one can be found in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, and of course other books too. But I know how to cover myself so that the attackers out there can't come and attack me and say I don't know what I'm talking about when I do. Okay, so last week, I covered a lot of information about the things that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said would lead up to this war against all Muslims, the genocide, the attempted. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said it's an attempted genocide. It'll never happen, but it's an attempt to annihilate the religion of Islam, to annihilate all Muslims. And when we talked about that hadith last week, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned the focal point. He mentioned the part of the world that will serve as the focal point. He said not just the focal point of any war, of all wars impacting us, but it'll be the focal point of our destruction completely. Who can remember where, what country, where did the Prophet say the focal point of all our trials, of all our fitna will come from? Who can remember the hadith? I haven't seen Mina here today. So y'all can forget about depending on her to answer for you while you guys are off lollydogging, watching TV, or whatever y'all doing. What's the focal point of all the fitna, all the major trials, all the major disasters, all the major wars that will impact us as an ummah, a nation? He said will come from what part of the world? Will begin there. Go ahead.
They'll be coming from the east.
Okay, now name the countries.
The east could be, Saudi Arabia.
No. Think about that hadith. I don't want what the east can be. That's a hadith. The Prophet said will start in the east. And then he pointed in those directions. Because he told the companions, depending on where Medina's located, where Mecca's located, name the countries. Come on, name them, Geechee. It shouldn't be hard because it's all on the news today. Where did the Prophet say all of our trials, all the major wars will begin with at that part of the world? And what are the countries? The companions listed those countries. Ibn Abbas, after the Prophet died and all the fitna began after the murder of Uthman, he said, these are the countries. What are the countries? Let's name them.
We got one being Syria.
Syria's one. What's the rest? I want y'all to think, because do you understand what's happening in the world? You will see that what's happening right now on CNN News, Allah told us, name the countries.
Sudan is another one.
He didn't mention Sudan. That's not nowhere. What? Somebody else get on the mic. She's guessing and trying. This is something that you guys should know. Get on that mic and tell me the countries.
Let's see. Okay, Iraq, Bosnia.
Iraq, go on. Bosnia, go on.
Shoot, I had them in my head. I can't get them.
Aren't we a messed up nation?
I
Y'all watch the news every day, and you Muslims around the world are freaking out because y'all think that, oh, the world is coming to an end. The prophet said all major calamities that will impact this entire nation, especially the wars. Okay, Pamela, good job. Palestine, Jerusalem, Syria, Iraq, good job.
And the one in the mountains, Afghanistan.
What is wrong with y'all's memory?
I don't know.
Oh, Allah. Y'all need, I want everybody to start to make dua for yourselves. I want every Muslim on planet Earth listening to me. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to say, whenever you make dua, always include for Allah to grant you knowledge and understanding of this religion, and include in your supplications for Allah to keep your mind alive. Because that's another sign of the last hour. The people who do believe in Allah, their minds will become feebled. They can't talk. They won't be able to speak well. Their memory is gone, or they can't express themselves well. Whereas the innovators, the Ruwaybida, they will be able to speak better than anybody. Y'all got to change. I mean, you can't change the color of Allah, but you can change yourself. Y'all need to start making dua that you don't be one of those that the Ruwaybida can knock y'all out because y'all don't know how to express yourselves. Your brain is all fried. Maybe it's the drugs y'all did back in the 60s. I don't know. Maybe it was all that music that got me messed up. Heat waves is taking me down. I can't get it out of my mind. Heat waves, heat waves. It's the music. The drugs for some of you other ones. Y'all better make dua. Okay, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the focal point of all the major trials, calamities, wars that will impact this nation as a whole will always begin with that part of the world. And he named it, and Ibn Abbas named it, and Ibn Umar named it, and Aisha named it Iraq, Syria, Palestine, Israel. I'm just going to call it what it really is. Israel. That's what the world calls it today. I mean, come on, we can't be stupid. That part of the world right there, what's the name of it? It ain't called Gaza. It's called Israel right now. The earth belongs to Allah, not to you and me. We ain't going to rename stuff because we think we own a piece of the rock. Another sign of the last hour. Muslims will never, ever, ever in that part of the world understand that the earth belongs to Allah. Okay? Israel, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, all that part of the world, Persia, which is now known as Iran. Remember the hadith we talked about? Let's see if y'all can remember this. What did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam say about Persia, the Persians? He said a lot about them. But what's the last hadith that we went over in regards to leadership that he said about the Persians? Do y'all know that Persia is Iran today? It's called, just like Israel is that part of the world today. Well, now it's called Iran. but originally that was Persia. What did he say about Persia? Who can remember? And when in regards to leadership, see, if you don't remember these hadiths, you're not going to be able to handle the trials of life. What did he say about Persia, Iran, and leadership? Huh? Nobody remembers? He
said that the Persian will be the people that will take over for the Arabs.
Yeah,
will be the leaders of the people.
Yeah, you see, Mina's here now. That's a shame. Out of all my 25 students, I only got one that can remember these hadiths. Sign of the last hour. Okay? Remember, we talked about how Salman al-Farsi, may Allah be pleased with him, how he walked past. This is right before the prophet died. And he had a revelation and he said, his people, they will either replace you or you will follow them. Remember that hadith? Either they will replace you or you will end up following them. What was he talking about? What happened to make the companions understand what he meant and it came true? What happened? Who can give me what happened? They didn't know what he was talking about until after he died and after Uthman was murdered and all that other stuff. What happened? Who were the people that replaced the Arabs? Who were the Iranians, the Persians that replaced them? And some people followed them. Do y'all remember any of them? They're very famous. All that Quran.
The Mu'tazila.
No. Well, the Mu'tazila, some of them follow, but I want some names. How does that hadith relate to the people today? Either they will replace you. What did he mean by replace? What does that mean? Let's break that hadith down. I explained it. Y'all don't remember it?
The replacing of the knowledge, our knowledge will leave us and they will replace us.
Okay, well, then who were they? Who were they? Did it happen?
I think I can't remember.
The 4 imams.
Oh, y'all. Oh, this is sad. I'm going to tell y'all. That's the correct answer, the 4 imams. But this is why I stopped teaching this class. I haven't taught this class like this in a long time because it's sad. It'll make a person like me just depressed. Because all these hadiths are so true. You see that Islam, the prophet spoke the truth. We're dumb. We're stupid. The Ruwaybida, all that stuff that's going on in the world that these Ruwaybida are doing. And y'all don't remember who were the Persians that replaced them? The 4 imams. And how did they replace them? What happened? Come on, who can give me the story behind that? I talked about it. And it wasn't just the 4 imams. Who else replaced them in knowledge? Persia. That should be a Iranian. That should be a clue. Oh, this is sad. I hope that you famous brothers are listening to me. Y'all better stop talking about Gaza and stirring up people's anger and hatred and teach Aqidah. What was meant by replace you? She said in knowledge. So who all replaced them in knowledge and how did it happen? Who can just give me the story behind it? It's real common sense. What happened? Give you a clue. The murder of Uthman, the companions killing each other. What happened? The companions died off. What happened? I'm giving y'all clues. This is common sense.
You divide it into sets and different sets. That's why.
Can you express yourself a little better?
Okay. My leg hurt. That's why I'm in pain.
I know, but I'm just saying you ain't the only one. At least you trying. These other people, I mean, this is sad.
The people started dividing into different groups the division. They was listening to the Kyrajacks would make it seem like if you don't do this, then you're a kafir, because our belief, and then they'll say that we are kafir and they'll try to kill us. And then the Kyrajacks was the ones that didn't believe. And
okay, guys, I want y'all to start getting some ink pens and writing down, and y'all need to pray to Allah for help. Seriously, pray to Allah for help, because this is pathetic. All right. When the companions died off, before they died, even during the lifetime of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the hypocrites have always tried to destroy this religion. And we're going to get to that in today's lecture, why the Prophet made his dua. Okay? As the companions died off, what did the Prophet say? Each generation will become further away from the truth. They will deviate away from the traditional Islam, which is what I am upon, which is what you, my original companions, are upon, and which is what those 4 leaders after me will be upon. That's the hadith y'all should never forget, and I mention it almost every day in my lectures. As those companions and those 4 leaders died off, sure enough, Islam started getting distorted. Like she said, with the Mu'tazila, the Kharijites, and even more. Once Islam spread through the Persian Empire, who came? Can y'all remember his name? Who was it that brought that theology that a lot of these Muslims here in America that y'all think are scholars, but they're not? They're famous Mu'tazila, really. Okay? Who was the name of the man that brought all this theology and human psyche and crap into Islam?
Ibn Sina.
Yeah, Ibn Sina. Ibn Sina and his people from Persia. That's the part of the hadith where the Prophet said, either you will follow them. That's the part. Either you will follow them, his people. His people came. Some of them did, with that watered down version of Islam, trying to mix theology and all this other stuff into it. That's why I told you guys, when you're looking at these so-called online Islamic schools, when you see the word theology, Mu'tazila, theology, run away. They try to mix Christianity, Greek, Romanism, and all that crap into Islam. And a lot of the people followed them. To this day, they're following them. How many Arabs y'all see coming to my website when Dr. Asim is here? And all they do is boast and brag about their degrees in psychology, their degrees in philosophy, their degrees in all the ologies. That's an example. You will follow them. Some of you will follow them. It's all about that, the ologies. And then some of his people will replace you. Who were the ones that replaced the companions? The companions had died off. And again, when we die, whatever knowledge we have goes with us. So who replaced the companions? The 4 imams, and who else? Give me some more names. And they were all Persian, by the way. These are not Arabic men. Y'all thought the 4 imams were Arabs. Only one was. The rest were Persian. Well, give me some more names.
Imam Bukhari.
Imam Bukhari, exactly. He was Persian. He wasn't Arab. Who else? Imam Muslim. Yes, they replaced him. Tirmidhi, they replaced him. They are those scholars of hadith. The scholars of hadith replaced the companions, trying to keep the people upon the sunnah. That's the part of that hadith. Either they will replace you or you will follow them. Ibn Taymiyyah, What was he? Y'all didn't mention his name. Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Qayyim. By the way, these brothers were not Arabs. They were Persians. Don't get it twisted. Okay? So that part has already happened and it's still happening today. How many people are following Ibn Sina still? My Egyptian sisters are. They kicking it with that ology. PhD in psychology. And we're not going to use that word. That word's a little bit too harsh. We're going to change the word to, so the people won't get angry at us. Don't use the word kafir. Kafir is an insult. Don't use the word kafir. Oh, Layla's so aggressive. All those people that talk about me like that, Mutazila, Layla's aggressive. She should never use the K word. It's an insult. Allah said they're kafirs. So Allah is an insult. She should never use the word ignorant. Allah says in the Quran that people are ignorant. So I can't use the word ignorant? How is that an insult? So that hadith came true. That hadith is still happening today. Either you are following those people or they have replaced the companions with their hadiths and trying to preserve and protect the sunnah. But most people don't follow them. Most people don't care about Imam Bukhari's hadiths or Imam Muslim. Ibn Taymiyyah, they slander him all like crazy. Okay? So that happened. And the prophet said all of that because there'll be more of you following the wrong ones. That's all going to lead up to the war against Islam. And then there is a third group too. The prophet talked about here. The third group is they will take the imams and replace the companions with them. And that's happening too. What do I mean by that? What does that mean when I say you have replaced the companions with the imams in a bad way? What do I mean by that? In a bad way. What's the bad way? Come on, people.
That means you're taking their opinions over what the prophet said and over what the companions said.
Exactly. We're blindly following what they call maktabs. That's the maktab. What is a maktab? Schools of thoughts based on the four imams. You would take their school of thought over what the Prophet ﷺ said, over what the companions say. I don't care what Aisha said about a menses. Imam Hanafi said a woman can only bleed for 10 days. That's an example. I don't care what Aisha, radiallahu anha, or Ibn Abbas, or Ibn Umar said. Any woman that crosses a man when he's praying, she broke his prayer. That's an example of what the prophet meant when he said, they will replace you. They either going to replace you in a good way or they'll replace you in a bad way. So 3 categories of people today. You got the blindly following people who follow nothing but mathabs. That's bad. Because Islam is only based on 2 sources. The Quran and the Hadiths. That's it. Okay? Or you got the other category that follows the deviant ones, that mix ologies, theology with Islam. Okay? Or you got the good ones who try to preserve the Sunnah. And by the way, guys, the 4 imams, even though these people formulated these schools of thought after these imams died, the 4 imams were not like that. The 4 imams, all 4 of them said, if you find any hadith where the companion said something and what I am saying contradicts what they said, disregard me. So the 4 imams, they were protectors of the Sunnah. But again, each generation becomes worse than the others. When they died, their followers started worshiping them, blindly following them. Okay, so we don't blame it on the imams. We blame it on their followers who were stupid enough to do that. So that hadith already happened. It's still happening. And the prophet said, when this happens, expect war. And by the way, the war started. They were fighting wars from that time on. They fought against the Tartars. They fought against the Berbers. They fought against all kind of people. Islam spread all over the place. Okay? And we're doing it today still. So that was the focal point. The focal point is those countries there in the Middle East, Iraq, Syria, Israel, and I'm going to use what the country is called, Israel. Israel, okay? Yeah, Afghanistan, throw that in there too. That's all considered the East. Yes, all of that. Everything begins there, and it did. We had Saddam Hussein, his thirst for power, attacked his own brothers in Kuwait, killed, crushed, destroyed, raped. Some of my relatives were living to witness that over there. Got mental issues as a result still. Oh yeah, that Kuwait war was, whew, Desert Storm. Oh yeah, America had to go in there and get them out. Oh yeah, big deal. Bosnia, Lebanon, the war in Lebanon in the early 2000s, all of that crap. All that's part of that East, that part. Lebanon, yes, brother, all of that. So everything is playing out, as you can see, as the prophet said. It didn't just start October 7th. It's been going on. It's just that the Western world wants you to stay focused on October 7th. And we're going to get to that hadith today. Okay. And why? Not only did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam tell us what the focal point would be, but why did he say that all calamities, all major calamities that will impact us as a nation will start from that part of the world? Why? Because he said there's cause and effect. It's Allah's punishment. In other words, Allah's punishment. It ain't the Zionists. It's Allah's punishment. I repeat, it's Allah's punishment. I repeat, it's Allah who brought it. And it's his punishment. And why did the prophet say it's Allah and his punishment? He said, what have these people done? What would these people do? And will continue to do until the end of time, which is why Allah will always have it start from there. Who can tell us the hadith? What's the reason? Because Allah doesn't do anything without reason. Why?
You know, they're fighting over the land.
Wait a minute. No, I want the hadith. I don't want to know what they're fighting over. See what I'm talking about? Y'all better start making dua. Why did the prophet say it would start there? Because Ibn Abbas asked why. Why that part of the world? Who can remember? I talked about it last week and I put shorts out too. In fact, that short went viral. It's got over 1,000 hits. Why? What's the hadith? Okay, Brother Marar got one of the answers. The prophet said the reason why is because they will be the first to deviate away from the traditional Islam. And what else? What else? Not only will they deviate away from the traditional Islam, but what else? No. What else? What else will they do? What have they done? What does that part of the world represent today? It's right in y'all's faces. Why will Allah cause that part of the world to be the pit, the seat, the horns, as the prophet said, the horns of Shaitan? Come on, Muslims who believe in the Sunnah. Y'all got to make dua and ask Allah to give y'all a memory, because y'all memory is gone. But the ruwaybida, they got a good memory. They make up lies and get y'all emotionally gung-ho to the point where y'all killing yourselves. Y'all blaming Allah. You don't understand. You're apostating. Come on. Ask Allah for some memory.
Division.
Let me give y'all a clue.
Division amongst.
Okay, let me try to give y'all a clue. I hope Kareem Abu Zaid is watching this. I hope you're watching, Kareem. Do you see what I'm talking about, Sheikh? Okay, somebody tell her that I hear her. Her answer's wrong.
Oh, okay.
I hope you watching, Sheikh Kareem. Do you see why I said in that you got to go over your books with these people? Go over your books with these people, Kareem. These Muslims are lost. They can't remember nothing. And you know I teach this stuff over and over. Why is it? What will they have done that is so bad that the prophet said is the reason why Allah have made them, that part of the world, the horns of Shaitan? What have they done? Y'all watch the news? What have they done? Where is their priority? Oh God, look at this, Kareem. Teach your book, Saki. I'm teaching them. You need to teach them. Have conferences with them. What have they done? What does that part of the world represent? Wake up. Look. Turn on TV. How do they live over there? How do they live in that part of the world? How does the Gulf states live?
I'll try. The Prophet ﷺ said, when you Muslims divide and turn against each other.
No!
That's what I just said.
Kareem, my point is made. You brothers got to stop it, man. No, Brother Perry. Let me try to give y'all another clue. The Prophet, sallallahu, and I just went over this hadith yesterday. The Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said that part of the world will be the pit of all calamities because they have chosen what over Allah? I done gave them the answer basically, and they still can't get it. You see this, Kareem? What have the Muslims chosen over Allah? What have the Muslims today, not just there, really, but everywhere, have made their priority? Y'all still don't know the answer?
Dunya.
What does that mean in English? Don't start playing the Arabic game. Speak on Inglo. If you know the answer, you'll say it in English. Y'all don't speak ain't no Arabs in here.
Worldly life.
Exactly. Good job, Nadia. She got it on the screen. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi, and y'all write that hadith down because I done went over it 1,000,000 times. The reason why that part of the world will be the pit of all calamities is because not only did Islam begin in that part of the world and they deviated away from it, but that part of the world will have chosen this world. Money. It's all about money, 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 money. Money. Y'all only understand music. When I sing, y'all remember. They choose falus, falus, falus. What did Sheikh Saad say the other day? Falus. It's all about the money. Turn on TikTok. What are the Arabs doing? They're riding around with lions in their car. showing off who got the white lion. They walking down the street, not with a dog, not with a cat. They walking down the street with a panther. It's all about money, 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 money. Give me that oil, the bling, the bling. Riding around in Mercedes-Benz, Rolls Royces. It's the falooze. Competing to build buildings. Who got the highest building? Saudi or the Emirates? What about Kuwait Tower? How could y'all forget these hadiths? So that's their punishment. It's a punishment from Allah. And Allah said, the Prophet told us that Allah said that part of the world will always get more and more and more into the falus. And he even told us why, because what's in the earth. The hadith even says what's in the earth. That's the oil. Israel, Syria, Iraq, the Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, oil, 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 oil. These people sold Islam for $1. That's why all major calamities will begin with that part of the world. If y'all would remember these hadiths, you would be able to handle yourself better, guys. This is just a quiz, and I only had 3 questions. Okay, last question. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, not only will the people in that part of the world sell their religion for what lies in the earth, that's one hadith, for the life of this world, but also all over uneducated, unqualified leaders will be appointed. Describe how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us these leaders will be. He said they're unqualified, ignorant leaders. What makes them unqualified? What makes them ignorant? And what will they do? He said you'll recognize who they are because there's one thing that they will all do, and they're doing it today. Who can remember that hadith? He said, when you live to see this, all this leads up to the war against Islam. What is it? Describe those leaders. All you got to do is look in your school at your MSA president. All you got to do is turn on the news, look at your mosque, look at the imams and the mosques. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about it, Texas. Texas imams cover up stories of sexcapades, rape, and everything else. Tell us about these leaders, people. What did the Prophet say makes them unqualified and makes them ignorant? Come on. Simple question. Very simple answer.
Because they don't have the knowledge. And they
what knowledge? Break down knowledge. They got degrees and PhDs. Break it down.
They don't have knowledge of the religion, what the companions was upon, the understanding that they had. And they don't have the knowledge that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with and what his companions was upon. They do not have that knowledge.
That's what I want y'all to remember. Y'all got to learn how to, what did Sheikh Saud tell y'all today? Be careful of the words. Isn't that the same thing I tell y'all? Like that young brother today said that the brothers in his mosque or whatever are fighting over which is better, Ramadan or Dhul Hijjah. It's all about the word. The 10 nights of Ramadan, nights, are better than any other nights of the year. The 10 days of Dhul Hijjah are better than any other days. So you can't compare the two. Those last 10 nights are the best nights of the year. Dhul Hijjah's 10 days. But see, we're stupid. We don't comprehend what we read, and we don't pay attention to our words. Whereas the Ruwaybidah, They're opposite. They play with words. Okay. So what type of knowledge? What makes these people ignorant is the fact that they have no knowledge and understanding of those companions, nor what the companions were upon. They'll issue fatwa, Islamic verdicts that go against what Allah said, against what the Prophet said. That was not the understanding of the companions. That's why they're ignorant and uneducated. They'll be able to sing the Quran. The Prophet said they can sing the Quran by heart, but they have no understanding of anything they say because they don't know the hadiths. And what is it that they will all do that's real serious? What act of worship will they mess up? I'm trying to give y'all a clue to the answer. What act of worship will they all mess up? I can't make it no more simple without giving y'all the answer. What will they do, in other words, in regards to the prayer? What will they do, these leaders, in regards to the prayer? I'm giving y'all the answer. What will they do to it?
They don't do it correctly.
Go to sleep, Anissa. What will they do?
They will be the rulers who delay the prayer.
Exactly. They will delay the prayer. They'll pray it outside of its regular time. How many of you seen it in your mosques? Down there in Texas. You go to mosque, they ain't praying the prayer right. It's out of its time frame. These so-called Muslim student associations. First of all, that ain't no mosque. Your university is not a mosque. Take your behind to the mosque to pray. And you praying it all outside the time. The Prophet said, if you live to see all this, this is all leading to the war against Islam. And this is why. Because again, we've abandoned the sunnah of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our understanding of this religion is not what he came with. Our practice of this religion is tainted as a result, even with the prayer. And we're more concerned with money. We're more concerned with the life of this world than the hereafter. All of this is why Allah will send war. And by the way, the war's been war ever since, from the time the Prophet received the call to prophethood up until today. This ain't nothing new. The war it's been bleeding up to it. It's been leading up to the war against Islam since then, since the 6th century, to be honest. So this didn't begin October 7th. And so today what I'm going to do is go over again the authentic hadiths where you can see how the Prophet said it's all about genocide. The non-Muslims want to annihilate us. But it's not going to happen. Yeah, some people going to lose their lives. It's life. We were born to die. Just that simple. Born to die. Okay? Whether you die in good standing or bad standing is what counts. Okay, so let me put the PowerPoint, and y'all need to take screenshots and print my PowerPoint out so that y'all can answer my quizzes, because you guys are scaring me. That's why I don't teach this class, because when I teach it, it's worse. The people do worse on my quizzes because the Ruwaybida are in power. They got the gift of gab. They got the memory. You guys got a good heart, but y'all don't have nothing else. Nothing else. You can't communicate. You can't remember nothing. You're all messed up. I don't know. Get off them drugs. I don't know. Ask Allah to help you. Take some Laxapro. I don't know. Do something. Okay. Serious. I gotta laugh to keep from crying. Okay, let me put the PowerPoint up here. The little kid here says, Sister Layla, I'm making dua every day. Yes, keep making dua. That's what I do too. Ask Allah to bless you with knowledge and understanding of this deen, and ask him to keep your mind vibrant, alive, fresh. Okay, don't lose your memory. The Prophet used to make dua asking Allah to never take his memory away. We all need to do that. I do too, because that's a terrible thing. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me put the PowerPoint up so you guys can see. And take screenshots with your cell phones. Okay, here we go. Let me start with the people in Zoom. Especially you people in Zoom. What's wrong with y'all? Supposed to be my students. Y'all about as twisted. Yes, here. I gotta laugh to keep from crying. My students. Okay, here we go. Here, I'm putting it on here now. Here we go. Yeah. Wait a minute. Can y'all see it on YouTube? Did I share it on YouTube? Can y'all see it? Is it on YouTube showing Mina?
Yeah, it's a delay.
Yeah, I see my face delayed on there.
You can see it now.
All right, kids. All right, guys, I'm going to make it. Well, I guess I'm frozen on my YouTube channel. Oh, there it is. I have to restart. Okay. Let me make this all one screen for you guys. Hold on. Yeah. So tonight we're going to continue. Yeah. You see that picture of me? Oh, that picture fits today because y'all couldn't answer my questions. Okay. Today we're going to speak more about what leads up to the war against Islam. And we're going to speak about the corruption. We talked last time we met about the leader, how unqualified leaders and all that, and how we've chosen the life of this world over Allah. Well, today we're going to speak more about the corruption that the Muslims will be engaging in, and also how deviant they will be away from the true Islam. Yeah, that I look mad in that picture, don't I? Well, I'm mad. That's how I feel right now. Oh, yeah, look at that picture. I lost a little bit of weight since then, too. I'm looking. It's a nice picture. My face looks skinnier now. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. Now, one of the things I want all of you to understand, you brothers and my students especially, I want y'all to understand the way you can grasp. A lot of people say, Sister Layla, I'm having a hard time dealing with this, what's going on in Gaza. Well, it ain't just happening in Gaza. Y'all heard Sheikh Saud today. May Allah bless him. He mentioned all these other countries. Y'all heard him today? He mentioned a lot of countries in Africa, Asia, because it ain't just happening. It ain't just happening in Gaza. It's been happening in Africa since after that Iraq war. Like I say, the non-Muslims want y'all to stay focused on Gaza. We'll get to that hadith. But I want y'all to understand that this nation, our nation, will only achieve success. And this is from our prophet. Our prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said this nation will only achieve success based on the number of righteous people we have in its ranks who have the characteristics of those companions. And those characteristics consist of striving to establish justice and to straighten out that which is crooked amongst us, and to reform that which is corrupt. This is the problem. If you look at the famous speakers today on YouTube, let's just look at America. These famous speakers, y'all, we have in America that y'all think are scholars. I keep telling y'all, those brothers and sisters, y'all see all on the TV and in the White House and on YouTube with all them followers. They ain't no scholars. It's all a fake display. Because noble people of nobility do not try to hide child molestation. I'm going to keep it real. People who are righteous will expose you. I don't care how popular you are as an imam for abusing, raping, molesting children in your community, for having sex with the women in your community. You would be exposed, not covered up like these brothers are doing that's famous. Oh, it's a lot of filth going on. And I'm going to just call it out. Down there in Texas. Hello, the redneck state of America. Kissing cousins and imams abusing their authority. Okay. So as long as we got that type of filth going on, do y'all think Allah is going to bring any success to us? And that's just here in America. This type of filth is going on all over the world with the Muslims. Men abusing their celebrity status, sexcapades all over the place, dating websites. Oh yeah, famous speakers got a dating website. So as long as this ummah does not have the righteous people in its ranks to call to what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam called to, there will be nothing but calamities. We have to understand that those people who do call to the truth, those people who do try to live up to those companions, these are the people who bear the trust of the heavens and the earth. Remember, it all goes back to Wala wal Bara. It all goes back to La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. Remember when Allah created Adam and he ran his hand across his back, and all of our souls appeared. Mine, yours, all of our souls appeared. Allah gathered us all at Mount Arafat, and he made us the same offer that he made to the animals, that he made to the sun, that he made to the moon, and they refused it. And that offer was free will. The sun, the moon, the animals rejected it because they knew what would come. If we accepted the gift of free will, that means as human beings, it's our job to establish justice here on earth. It's our job to reform those who are corrupt, to change the evil. We're supposed to enjoin what's good and forbid what's evil. Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning. We did offer the trust or the moral responsibility and all the duties which Allah has ordained to the heavens and the earth and the mountains, but they declined to bear it. They were afraid of it because they were afraid of Allah's punishment. But man took it on. Man was unjust to himself and ignorant of the results. That's us. Allah tells us in the Quran that we are criminal and ignorant by nature. We always want to take on responsibilities that we can't handle. So this nation, we will only be successful as long as we enjoying the good, as long as we forbid the evil. When we start to cover it up, when we start abusing children sexually, like what's happening down there, abusing women sexually, which is happening all over the world, abusing our power and authority as leaders, stealing from the masajids, breaking our trust with each other, that's when Allah will bring about punishment. And that punishment will be in the form of war. Like the Prophet said, war comes from Allah. And Allah says that he sends war. as a means of cleansing the earth of bad, corrupt people. And we got a lot of bad, corrupt people here. Muslims. I'm talking Muslims. A lot of bad, filthy, dirty Muslims. Okay? And he also sends war as a means of us being able to see who the true hypocrites are from the real believers. I can see them. I see them. I'm sure you do too. And he also sends war as a means of testing the believers with something better than all of this. Those are the ones who do die, true martyrs. And not everybody who dies is a martyr. Most people who die are going to hell. Don't get it twisted. Hashtag don't get it twisted. The Prophet Muhammad said there'll be more people in hell than paradise. And as he told Umar at the Battle of Uhud, don't go around saying because that person died, he's a martyr. Because that one is in hell holding on to the robe he stole. So I'm telling y'all the same thing about Gaza, Africa, and any other place. Don't get it twisted. Not everybody that's dying is a good Muslim. Most of them probably ain't. Okay? Allah's in control of this. And he done told us what the consequences of violating that trust. When you turn on YouTube and you see a man talking about children being sexually molested in a mosque, and instead of the person that did it being punished, they puts him on a plane and sends him back to his homeland to protect him. And that child got to live the rest of his life knowing that he was molested by another man. And we talk about LGBTQ. If he grew up to be LGBTQ, whose fault is it? So don't get it twisted, Muslims. Whenever we violate the Amanah, there will be consequences for us all. Listen to what Hudayfa, may Allah be pleased to him, said. He said the messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, told us two things. One of which I have seen, and the other I am still waiting for. He said the trust is deep rooted in the heart of man. And then Allah sent down the Quran, and man learned from the Quran. And then Allah sent down the Sunnah. Then he told us about how that trust will be removed. He said a man will go to sleep and the trust will be removed from his heart a little bit, just leaving a faint mark. Then he will sleep again and the trust will be removed more, leaving a blister. Then he took a pebble and rolled it on his foot and said, the people will enter into business transactions with each other. And there will hardly be anyone who will return things that were entrusted to them back to their owners. It will be so bad that you won't be able to find anyone whom you can trust. Tell me if this ain't happening. When you hear about children and women being sexually molested in the mosque by famous speakers, and instead of those men being held accountable for what they've done, you hide it underneath the table. That's the trust. The Quran was in your heart. Then when you got famous, look how the Quran disappears. It's all about that fame. David Bowie spoke about it. Okay? When this stuff happens, this is what leads to the war against Islam. Also, Hudayfa said there was a time when I would not care with whom of you I entered into a business transaction with. Because if you were a Muslim, your faith would compel you to keep your word with me. And if you were a Jew or Christian, the ruler would compel you to keep your obligation to me. But today, I wouldn't dare enter into any transaction with any of you unless it was so-and-so who is someone known to be trusted. Tell me if that ain't happening today. If you cannot trust your children to go to an Islamic school and come home safe, who can you trust? You entrust your children to go to the mosque to participate in the so-called Islamic school, and you find out your son is being sexually molested by a male teacher, and it's covered up. You can't even go into a school transaction. How many of you Muslims bought houses thinking that you were interest-free because you got into this interest-free financing program? Come to find out they lied to you. Sheikh Kareem Abu Zayd speaks about that. You thinking that you didn't pay interest on a house and they lied to you. You paying just as much interest, if not more, than had you went to a Kafir bank. The trust is violated. All of this is happening. This is what leads up to what's happening in the East, which includes Gaza. It's not just Gaza. Okay? Also, another sign of the last hour, or another sign of events that will lead up to the war. That's what we're talking about. These are the actions that the prophet said that will lead up to the war against Islam, the big one. We call it WW3, World War III. That's what I'm talking about. The prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the slave woman will give birth to her mistress, and the Arabs will compete in building high buildings. It's already happening. And Umar, radiallahu anhu, tells us this hadith. This is the hadith of Jibril. How when Jibril came in the form of a man, asking the prophet about Islam. And then he asked him about the last hour. And then Jibril, alayhi salam, told the prophet, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, tell me about the signs of the last hour. The prophet said the slave woman will give birth to her mistress, and you will see the barefoot naked shepherds, meaning the Arabs, competing in building lofty buildings. Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, tells us that the prophet, that the response of the prophet is as follows. He said, when you see the slave girl giving birth to her mistress or her master, and you see the keepers of the sheep competing and building high buildings, and you see the barefoot, hungry, and dependent becoming the leaders of people, these are the signs. These are the Arabs. The Arabs could never imagine them becoming leaders of the world leaders, but they are. Those Gulf states, the richest countries in the world are those Gulf states, and they are all leaders of the world because they have that oil that the rest of the world needs. Okay? They have all that money. They have nothing better to do than to compete. Saudi Arabia and the Emirates and Kuwait and Oman and Bahrain competing to see who can build the highest building. I think the Emirates so far is leading. So all that is happening. These are all the signs leading up to the war against Islam. And again, where's my dalil? That it's the Arabs. Ibn Abbas tells us, he said, O Prophet of Allah, who are the keepers of the sheep and the barefoot, hungry, dependent? He said, who else? The Arabs. There's my dalil. All of this is Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. Okay? So the first part, what about the women giving birth to their masters? Well, Ibn Rajab, who was he? He was a scholar of the Hadith. He said when the slave woman gives birth to her mistress, this refers to the one who is in control of her and who owns her, her guardian, her wali. They're talking about how polygamy. There will be so much polygamy that the women will give birth to children who will grow up to be kings. And the slave woman will be one of his subjects, and he will be her master. This has been happening. SubhanAllah, it's no mystery. You guys know that I'm from Anwar Sadat's family. SubhanAllah, I'm from the Sadat family. My father was a Sadat. No problem. DNA. All right? Anwar Sadat's father, his mother was from Sudan. She was Sudanese. Okay? She gave birth. She gave birth to Anwar Sadat. He became the ruler over Egypt. SubhanAllah. So this has been happening. This has been going on. You give birth, and your son will end up being your guardian, the guardian over you. You can't even get married unless your son approves of it, because you don't have a husband. You don't have any other male relatives to be a guardian for you, a wali for you. So you dependent on your son or your grandson. Like in my case, if I wanted to get married, well, I got some brothers. I have to depend on my brothers or my grandsons. Yeah, I got grandkids. Yeah, they can be guardians for me. One of them can. So that's happening already. Yeah, my grandson had to be my wali if my brother Issa can't be found. Hello, life. So this is already happening. And that's when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when you live to see this happen, that's when you live to see all these things happen. Islam is distorted. Islam is strange. People have replaced the hadith with fatwa. People will have abandoned the traditional Islam. The sects will be divided. All the things we talked about. You live to see all those things happen, which they all are happening. That's when the other nations of the world will call one another together to attack us as a whole. This is the big war. This is the war. This is when the United Nations will declare war against all Islam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the nations will call one another to attack you as diners call one another to eat from a plate. And somebody asked the Prophet, why would they do that? Will that be because there won't be that many of us? He said, no. Those days you will be many. You will be like foam, like the foam of the sea. But Allah will have removed fear and respect from the hearts of your enemies, because your hearts will be filled with weakness. Now that's us. There was a time where we Muslims were respected, where we were feared by our enemies. But because the Muslims have watered themselves down, don't nobody fear us. They look at us as being nobodies. I can relate to myself as a child. I grew up in the 60s, right after Malcolm X. SubhanAllah, I was never a part of no Elijah Muhammad garbage. Never. I was always a Sunni Muslim living here in America, born and raised in the USA. Okay? Arab American. In the USA. Hit it, boss daddy. I'm boss lady. When I was a child growing up, we were respected. When my imam and my stepfather went to my elementary school and told them that I do not pledge allegiance, they said she is a Muslim. They said she is not Elijah Muhammad. She is a Sunni Muslim. And Imam Mutawab said she does not pledge allegiance to no flag of no country. Her allegiance is to Allah, to the Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah. When Imam Mutawab left with my stepfather, the next day I came to school, the teacher tried to be smart. She wanted me to stand up. I refused. Then I snuck away. I went to a phone and called my mother. I'll never forget it as long as I live. My mother dressed in all black. She had a hijab dragging the ground. And she had my godmother, Sister Kalima, with her. My mother came up to that school with her umbrella in her hand. She came to my class, pulled me out. She stood in that hallway and yelled, "Get the principal here now." The principal and them came. She said, "You got one more time to make my daughter stand up and pledge allegiance to your flag." She said, "I will make one phone call. I will have the Black Panthers, the Black Nationalists, and every Sunni Muslim in this city surround this school, and we will burn you to the ground." That's what my mother said. "We will burn you." We had to Huff riots. They burned Huff to the ground. They never tried to get me to pledge allegiance then. In fact, I was respected. Elementary school, junior high, high school, no teachers bothered me. I wore hijab, I wore jilbab. I didn't participate in holidays. And they respected me because they feared my mother making that phone call. Nowadays, look at you kids. Nowadays, y'all's allegiance is to all kind of flags. You walking around with the flag of Gaza on you. You done made people like me look stupid when we had to prove in the 60s that our allegiance ain't to no stinking flag. And now you Muslims going to school draped in flags, making us look stupid. The weakness is in your heart. What did the prophet say? He said that weakness is love for this world and hatred of death. I was willing to die. In the 60s, my mother, my stepfather, me, my community, Mukhtar's father, his mother, we were willing to die for Islam. Like my mother said, we'll burn this baby down. We'll burn this baby down and take your pup shots if you dare. You Muslims today are weak. You fear death. It's all about sugarcoating this deen, blending in with the kuffar. You're weak as you walk around wrapped up in your stupid flags. So, up until the present day, the forces of evil are cooperating with one another to destroy this nation. Why? The prophet said because they want our resources. They want the wealth. They want that oil in the Gulf. They want the gas in Africa, the diamonds, the rubies, and all the other minerals that Africa holds. And they want to humiliate the men of this nation. And again, when we break that trust with Allah, that's when we lose Allah's help. Like the prophet said, our love for this world, our hatred of death, this is what brings about the curse of Allah. War comes from Allah. It don't come from the Zionists. But one hope here. When Allah revealed all this knowledge to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as to what will happen to his nation, the Prophet got really sad. He was crying. And then he felt sorry for the few of us that would try to enforce the Sunnah. Allah told the prophet, there will be a hand of believers, even though you will have hundreds and hundreds of Muslims in the world. He said, search throughout the land, you will only find a handful of believers. And that's when the prophet got sad. He started crying. And he said, I can't believe my people would be that bad. And that's when he said, I asked my Lord to not let overwhelming famine destroy the entire nation because of how twisted my people will have become. And I also asked Allah to not allow any enemy from outside to wipe us out, to genocide and wipe us out. He said, and Allah answered me. He said, oh Muhammad, if I have decreed something, and I want y'all to pay attention. What happened here? Oh, I'm sorry. I want y'all to pay attention. Shaitan don't want y'all to see this hadith. Pay attention. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Allah said, oh Muhammad, if I have decreed something, it can never be changed. Y'all hear that? Allah brought this war, guys. And it's not just Gaza, but Gaza's included. Y'all can't change it. Keep on protesting. Keep on protesting the qadr of Allah. You ain't changing nothing. He said, oh Muhammad, if I have decreed something, it can never be changed. But I have granted you this. Your nation will never be destroyed by an overwhelming famine, nor shall your entire nation ever be genocided from the enemy. He said, even if all the surrounding countries were to come together to destroy your entire nation, they would not be able to do it. But some of my nation will destroy each other, and they will take each other as prisoners. So here it is, guys. You ain't got to worry about the Zionists. Allah granted the Prophet Muhammad that, even though we are a bad, twisted people today, the Zionists will never destroy Islam. They will never destroy us all. But understand, guys, we will destroy each other. We will fight. We will kill. We will argue. We will divide. And we will destroy each other. Y'all understand that? This hadith is Sahih Muslim. This hadith is Sahih Muslim. And it's authentic. So we need to really work on our aqeedah. We really need to work on our belief system. We need to work on getting back to the traditional Islam, which is what the Prophet and his companions were upon. So I'm going to stop right here, and I want to know who was that made the screen turn red. Anybody can figure that out? That's the first.
Who's that dude?
I kicked him out.
How was he able to do that? Do y'all know?
I'm not sure.
But y'all saw that? I told you we would always be under. That's why I'm going to need you.
I saw it.
Yeah. So that's another way that they can hack the Zoom. But you dealt with it. That's why I'm going to always need y'all to be paying attention to here, because Shaitan does not want me to get this stuff out to y'all. Okay? And the way y'all can't remember these hadiths, oh, it's pretty bad. It's kind of sad. Makes me not want to teach this class. Okay. Okay. So anyway, subhanAllah, as y'all can see, this is why the war is here. And the war didn't begin. I don't care what nobody tells y'all. This did not begin October 7th. This been going on since the late 90s. This war has been going on since the Bush regime. It started during the regime of Bush. Okay. It never stopped in Africa. It never stopped in Africa. There were pauses in the Middle East. But Africa has been going on since the 2000s. And it's spread it just like the prophet said. It's spread and it's going to eventually get to us. It's going to get to America. It's going to get to Europe. It's going to get to Australia. All because we have chosen the life of this world over Islam, over Allah. Our priority is learning how to speak Arabic instead of learning what that Arabic means. And you'll never know what it means until you learn these hadiths. Okay? We don't implement our religion. We talk a good game. We're following famous speakers. And these famous speakers are some of the most sick people on earth. The things that's going on in these masjids is just filthy. Filthy. Disgusting. And Allah keeps manifesting it more and more. But you people still following these men and women. Women being imams. You sitting up the imam of a masjid. I don't care what title they give you. They can call you a counselor. You an imama. All right, I'm going to stop right here. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Are there any questions? Okay, I'm going to close out for tonight. Inshallah, I'll see everybody here tomorrow. Everybody have a good night. Assalam.